Hi there. So I'm going to give you a quick tutorial on how to create a formula for your sinking funds categories. So I've done this already in the spreadsheet that you have. I did it for the first two. So also, just worth mentioning, I use Numbers, which is the Mac version of Excel. More or less, all the same rules apply for Excel that I'm going to be doing here. It might look a little different. The tabs might be down. I think in Excel, the tabs are down here, in Numbers, they're up here, but pretty much everything that I'm going to tell you is more or less the same. And if there's any difference, then I will inform you of that as we go. Now, if I double click on, so I have ones that are already made up here. So if I double click on this cell, it opens it up so you can see the formula that's in that cell that's creating the value for that cell. So as you can see here, so in this example, we're using the charitable gifts line item. All right. So this is showing you that there, I am adding the values for every cell in every for each corresponding month for charitable gifts. So let me just go back here so you can see what I'm talking about. If we go back to January, the cell that it's pulling from is going to be this one. It's E4. All right. So when you add a value to this cell, it will populate to here because the formula is E4 of January. And that's where we just put that value there, that $20. So now let's say we are in February's budget and the same thing. We budget $20 to go towards a charitable gift fund. And if we go back here, you'll see that now it's at 40. All right. And, so as we go, it'll keep adding up if we keep doing that. The next month we budget another $20 to go into the fund, and now it's 60. So now if you want to donate to something and use this whole amount or even use the partial amount, how we deduct from the fund so that it's reflected accurately in the spreadsheet is we double click on it, and you'll see that the formula is all encased in these parentheses here. So now we're outside the parenthesis, and what we're going to do is so say there's $60 in the fund and we want to donate the whole 60 to something. So we just go minus 60. And if we hit enter, you'll see that it has all been used up and we're back at 0. All right. Same thing would happen if we only wanted to use half of it. It was $30 towards something. Same thing, minus 30. And now we have $30 still left in the fund. All right. So you just, and then actually, let me go back. Then so say that, we donated $30 and we're just going to keep on going with our budget where we add, $20 every month, and it just keeps adding in. All right. So that's that. Now I'm going to create one from scratch. And so how you do that is you click on the cell where you want it to go. Let's do the vacation fund. We'll create an auto-populated formula for the vacation fund. So to start a formula, you always hit the equal sign first. That opens up this little, call it like a function bar. And then you want to tell it what you want it to do. And so we want it to add up values. So math language to add is a sum, correct? So we type in sum, and then we put in a parenthesis so that the formula will be enclosed together in a bubble, more or less. So we start the formula like that. We scroll back, and we want to do it for every single vacation line for every month. So this one is, make sure you're in the right column. So this one's the vacation budget. The vacation line item is on line 86. So E86 is that's the cell that it's going to pull from for the formula. And then we move to the next month. And this is a little bit of a tedious task, but once you have it all set up, you don't have to worry about it. It's all done. Now, in a Mac, like in numbers, like what I'm doing is I'm just pretty much like hitting, clicking on each cell, and it automatically adds them up here. I'm pretty certain with Excel, you have to put a comma between each um, one here. So I think that's the only difference between. You can do that in numbers too, obviously. So this is pretty basic. Excel 101, how to add up cells to come up with one big value on another sheet. And I'm just going to go ahead and finish this out. It's a little tedious. And so while you're going along too, you want to make sure that, sometimes, because this can be a little confusing, you might accidentally hit the wrong cell. All right. And so you'll know that by looking here. So, every spreadsheet for each month is the same from sheet to sheet. Okay. So you just want to make sure that you are actually clicking on the correct cells so that the right number gets added up. And so here I did it on purpose. I accidentally clicked on F86 instead, so that's obviously not going to be correct. So we just want to delete that. So that's just one thing you want to look out for as you're doing this. You want to make sure that you are adding up the correct cells. So keep going. And one more, we're in December. Perfect. Now we're at the end of the formula here. And to close it out, we put an end parenthesis. Sometimes you can also just hit return, but end parenthesis just tells it that we are done. That is everything we want to add up within those two parentheses is the formula that we want. And then we hit return. Okay, so let's test this thing out. So let's go back to January, and let's say we're in January and we're trying to fund a vacation fund. So we've decided that we're going to budget $200 a month, every month, toward our vacation. So let's just say, let's do this also. So let's say we want to save up like, $800 as our target. Okay. And we want to obviously do it by August. It's just kind of, these are for your own, notes so that you know what's going on. Okay. So, and that makes sense. If we're pretending that it's January and we want to save $800, and we have it until August, we have until August to do it. We can either do it real fast by putting in $200 a month and we'll be, all funded by April, or we can do a little slower, do $100 a month. So I guess it just kind of depends. You can make it, let's just say in February, we had to have some other expenses that were more a higher priority. And so we only put $100 instead of $200, but it's still adding up. And so you'll see how much you have to go every time. That in, so 200. So now we're at 500. Now we have $300 more to go, and we have April, May, June, and July to do it. So, we're going to be easily funded by August to do that. So that's just the tutorial on how to do this. Hopefully that made sense. And if you Google, just kind of basic Excel tutorials, there's a lot of those online as well. But this was just one to show you real quick, specifically how to fill out this sheet. And you can do it for everyone you want. The other way to do this, if you don't, formulas kind of confuse you and you're kind of, this just isn't your jam, you can easily do this by hand as well. And that is manually. And all that is let's just pretend, okay, here, I'll just take this out here. Instead of doing a auto-populating formula, you just want to do it manually. So, January comes and goes, you funded $200 towards it. So equal sign 200. Okay. Now February comes and goes, and there you had funded $100, right? And so you just go to your sinking funds and you double click on this, plus 100. The formula's there, and so on and so forth. March, we budgeted $200. Double click on the formula, plus 200. So that's another way to do it. If having these formulas here is a little confusing for you, you can still let the spreadsheet do the math for you by just kind of entering them manually as the month goes by. Okay. One word of caution is once this formula is in here, do not delete it. Okay, because then you delete the whole formula and you'll have to start over with that. So if you want this to zero out without deleting the formula, um, all you have to do, so we have $50 left in this fund, and say we want it, you want to spend that $50, or for some reason you just want this value to be zero, you just subtract the $50, it goes back to zero. Okay. That's the only word of warning here. Just don't delete the formula. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but that means that um, you'll have to, you know, redo it, and hopefully you don't lose any other data in there. All right. So that's just the tutorial on how to do this. And if you have any questions, just let me know. Thanks.